Right now, we're joined by Richard Grenell, former Assistant Secretary of State to the United Nations, joining us right here. Hey, Rick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. Good to talk to you again. It's been a while. You just saw Pat Smith there talking and sending a message to Hillary. You made some news over the weekend yourself, but tell us where you think we are right now, having digested the Wednesday hearings, having digested the weekend talk shows, and breaking the news that you broke, which probably explains at least part of the media attitude towards all this, or could explain it, where siblings of both the presidents of ABC News and ABC and CBS News have siblings working in the White House on policy matters relating to Benghazi. So it's a whole lot there to digest, but go to it.
Yeah, it's just really been frustrating. I think most of us have watched the Benghazi performance from the White House and have been frustrated. There's a lot of questions that remain. And the frustration comes not only from the president and the NSC not answering questions, including the Secretary of State not answering questions, but really the media not asking questions. This would have never happened under even Bill Clinton. I mean, the media have completely decided that whatever Obama does is somehow immune to their journalistic integrity. So what we have is the president of ABC News, Ben Sherwood, and the president of CBS News, David Rhodes. Both of them have siblings that not only work at the White House, but work on foreign policy issues. And so it's no wonder that we have this blood bias going on. It's no wonder that ABC and CBS are not covering the Benghazi issue. And then we have CNN, which ran 17 minutes of the hearings on Benghazi, only 17 minutes. Fox News ran more than an hour, but CNN only ran 17 minutes, and that's primarily because, in my belief, that the deputy bureau chief for CNN, based in Washington, D.C., is married to Hillary Clinton's deputy, Tom Nides. Now, Tom Nides is right in the middle of all this. We need to know, did Tom Nides cover for Hillary Clinton? Did he know that Ambassador Stevens was sending multiple cables requesting security? Did that cable, which was addressed to Hillary Clinton, did she read it? Did her political deputies read it, or did some lower level civil servant read it? There are a lot of questions. One of the things that came out this weekend is Victoria Nuland, who was handpicked by Hillary Clinton to be the State Department spokeswoman. Victoria Nuland is the one who asked questions of the Benghazi talking points, to the point where she wasn't comfortable in her own words that the talking points seemed to finger the State Department for not doing enough. Well, she hit it right on the head. That's exactly what the case was, except she asked for all of that information to be deleted from the talking points so that, in her words, the members of Congress wouldn't beat up on the State Department. Now, what we have is Victoria Nuland raising questions about the Benghazi talking points, and Ben Rhodes, brother of CBS News President David Rhodes, Ben Rhodes at the White House saying, yeah, Victoria's right, we need to have a deputies committee meeting at the White House on these talking points. Now, let me just tell you one thing about the deputies committee meeting. When you call a deputies meeting at the White House, it means that there's an interagency fight. It means that the agencies can't agree on what to do, either a policy or, in this case, a talking point. In my whole 8 years serving in the Bush administration, I never saw the deputies meet over talking points. They meet over policy issues. But here we have the Obama NSC deputies meeting over talking points because we don't know which agencies disagreed, but clearly agencies disagreed. If Victoria Nuland, who wanted to just scrub the talking points of all references to the State Department, if she had her way and no one objected, then Ben Rhodes wouldn't have had to come in and say in this email chain, hey, let's bubble this up to the deputies committee meeting, because what he doesn't say, there clearly is a disagreement. Someone is disagreeing.
Right.
We need to figure out who disagreed.
Well, this whole relationship here with this one married to that one and this brother of that one. Would you describe this? How would you describe it? Incestuous or what?
It's typical Washington. I mean, I don't live in Washington, And the simple fact is most people don't live in Washington and they don't understand the ways of Washington. But, you know, the political reporter at Politico, Jonathan Martin, is married to the Betsy Fisher, who is the Meet the Press executive producer. So reporters are married to reporters. There's groupthink going on. No one is willing to challenge the Obama White House because there's also incestuous relationships between the Obama White House and the media. And it's a revolving door of comfortability. And what we have in Washington is a culture of comfortness. And this is just so frustrating to Americans because we expect reporters to be inquisitive. We expect journalists to ask probing questions and to be mistrustful of all government officials.
And Rick, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but of course, if this same relationship that you just described, or these relationships, work the other way, if this were Bush and Benghazi happened under Bush, they would work the other way towards demanding impeachment, demanding answers, nonstop coverage, correct?
Imagine if Roger Ailes had a sibling who worked inside the Bush White House during the Iraq War. Do you think that the New York Times would have covered that in such a way that every American would have known about it, or the rest of the political media in Washington? When you have ABC News president and the CBS News president both having siblings working for the Obama White House on the Benghazi issue, and we don't know about it, it's outrageous. It's outrageous, and I'll tell you what it also is. It is a lack of respect on the journalists' part for the American people because they think they can put one over on them.
We're talking to Richard Grenell, the former Assistant Secretary of State to the United Nations in the Bush administration, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I want you to hear what Barack Obama said today and react to it briefly. Can we get, I'm throwing you a curve in the wheel. This would be 44. He's talking about the emails, and this is his conclusion about the emails and Susan Rice and the whole thing. 44.
The emails that you allude to were provided by us to congressional committees. They reviewed them several months ago, concluded that, in fact, there was nothing afoul in terms of the process that we had used. And suddenly, 3 days ago, this gets spun up as if there's something new to the story. There's no there there.
There's no, it's the same terminology, except he pronounces it a little differently. There's no there. You know, trash the messenger. It's old news. There's no there. We've heard this all before.
Look, we've got a president who is highly, highly political and has a team of people that are highly political. What he just said there is, look, we provided this information to Congress a long time ago, and they basically, what he said is they approved it and said we didn't do anything wrong. They didn't approve it. The White House probably did a document dump on the
and they didn't see
Congress.
it. They didn't. I mean,
And
Stephen Hayes
either
found
they didn't
it.
see it, or it didn't raise to the level. But for the president to go off and say, we provided this information to you a long time ago and you didn't raise any concerns then, so it's too late. I mean, he's just running out the clock on everything. He's pretending like we dump a whole bunch of documents on you, and since you didn't raise any concerns, everything should be fine. And you're political now for raising these questions.
Rick, let me ask you one more question. We got only less than a minute. Is this whole thing, can this thing, your old boss, John Bolton, a great friend of this show, said on this show about a week ago today that that was before the hearings, this could bring down the administration. Do you believe that at this point?
You know, I think there are serious questions that remain, and we need to get answers to these questions. And if this administration is going to continue to block us or make fun of people who are trying to find out the truth so that we can ensure that this never happens again, then I think the stonewalling is going to be a huge problem for this administration.
All right. Rick Grenell, thank you so much. I hope you'll come back, sir.
All right, anytime.
Thank you very much.